Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa, and today we are going to make one last Christmas card for the season. I was looking through my stash and I realized that I still needed a few more cards, and I just love this set. It is so cute. So we will be using Pinkfresh Studio Holiday Spirit stamps, dies, and stencils. And I've got some things already prepared, but let's go ahead and get started. So for our heat embossing, I used Versamark and Brutus Monroe Gilded. I am loving this embossing powder. It is just beautiful. And we are using the cup, the glass, and the lime wedge there. We will also be using the die set that comes with it. Coordinates with all your sentiments, so that's really nice. And then I've also got the stencils. We need the stencils. And then for our border, our frame on the card, we are going to switch it up a little bit and use green. So for my red one here, I used the Recollections glitter paper, but in the red. Today we are using the green Recollections glitter paper. And that is just so cute. So I cut this frame out from the ornate rectangle frame, and I will have everything listed in the description below. And I did look this morning, and Firefly Farm had the entire Holiday Spirit stamp, stencil, and die set in stock, and she has the quickest shipping. So even if you were to order it Monday, you would probably get it like on Friday and still have plenty of time to turn these stamps and dies into cards. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got the waffle flower grip mat here, and a lot of people are just sticking this on their glass mat. They're peeling off that other piece of acetate. But I'm not using a glass mat. I am just on my dining room table. So I am going to leave that other piece on there, and it will still work for me because it is going to hold my paper down in place, and it will still hold my stencil in place also. So for our colors, I've got Pinkfresh Candy Apple. I've got Olive and Grassy Knoll. I've got Persimmon and Doe. And then I've got some Misty Coast. So let's go ahead and get started with the ink blending here. And for my blending brushes, I am in love with these. I picked these up, and these are the Waffle Flower double-ended shader brushes, and I just love these. They have the little brushes, and they're kind of tapered, and these work really, really well. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do is we're going to line up this stencil. Hopefully I'm not getting my head in there. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit so I can make sure it is in place. And we are just going to take our edges on the stencil and press them to the grip mat, and that will hold it in place perfectly. So let's start with our candy apple. And I want to be a little bit light-handed here. I don't want it too dark. On one sample that I did, I was very heavy-handed because I looked up cranberry champagne and it was dark in the glass. But I didn't like the look of that dark on my card, so we are going a little bit lighter here, and it's very easy. I always, kind of tap off on the stencil, and we're going to leave a little bit in the middle, unshaded, just so we get some definition in there. We can take that off, move on to our next stencil. That was stencil number 1, and as you can see, I'm hoping you can see that. Might be a glare. But each stencil, it is etched into the top of the stencil itself. I think that's good right about there. You know what? Let me pull that down a little. That's good. And for our star of anise, I think that's how you say it, I am going to bring in my persimmon and dough because it's a very dark color. So let's bring in our persimmon and we're going to use that first. And we're just going to color that image in and go back and forth. We're going clockwise and counterclockwise. Let's bring in some dough because I want to add a little bit of accent to that. And it's really nice when you kind of tap off on your stencil because then you don't waste the ink. You can reuse it. And I am not going to color into the ornament because we're not using the little ornament today. So then let's move on to stencil number 4. I am skipping number 3. We will use number 3 after number 4. This lines up beautifully with your straw and your green there. And then just kind of give it a little wipe on the side and that will suction down and hold that stencil perfectly in place. Here we are using grassy knoll and olive, and this is where my double-ended comes into play so nicely. I've got my grassy knoll on one side, and then I've got my olive on the other side. And that is beautiful. So what we're going to do here, you know what, let's take a piece of tape and we're going to mask off that straw. We didn't get anything in there yet. And then I've got my grassy knoll. We're just going to fill that in, flip it over, and we can just hop right onto our olive. And I'm just going to try to color in the inside, the middle of these leaves with our olive and get that just a little bit darker in there, but I still want some shading. And I think that's probably perfect. Let's wipe that off. And then we can take our masking here and move it over. And we are going to use Misty Coast for our straw. Now, part of it will get covered up. The part that's not in the drink will show, but the part that is in the drink will get covered up. So we don't even really need to color that in. I think that's probably perfect, just like that. And let's see what we got. I just love stencils and the way that everything comes to life. Perfect. So let's go ahead and put our next stencil. We're going backwards to stencil number 3 here. We're just going to line that up with our berries. Just like that. And then we are going to bring back in our candy apple. And I do want to go heavy-handed on these cranberries here. So we will make these darker. Just like that. Super simple. I figured I needed a couple more Christmas cards. I think I've already got like 40 or so done. But I send out a lot of Christmas cards. I want those cranberries nice and dark in there. I think that's probably pretty good. Now, one thing with the reds, oh, that's beautiful. It does take a little bit longer for them to dry, for the red color to dry, but I'm not going to worry about it too much because we are filling this in with red. Let me pull that down just a little bit. But sometimes your red will smear if it's not completely dry. So here we're going to go light-handed around the edges of our glass and just fill that in. Just like that. And make sure you tap off because you don't want to go into here too dark. And then we'll leave our middle lighter so we get some shadowing, so we get some shading. Just like that. Now I want to do my edges a little bit more. I am going to make this one just a tad bit darker than my first one, or the sample that I showed you, but not a whole lot. And you always want to kind of come off like that. Come off the edges. Just like that. Let's add a little bit more color in there. And you know what? The Roomba just came on. I need to go turn him off. I forget that he always comes on Saturday at 12 o'clock. So I just turned that off. I don't want him making too much noise. Let's see what we got. And that is beautiful. I think I want to bring in my first stencil, bring it back in, and I am going to darken this part of the drink just a little bit. There we go. I just want that a little bit darker on the edges. And I'm not even going to add more ink to this. I'm just going to use what is on the brush. And that's perfect. I love that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now we need to work on our lime. And that is on stencil number 1. And it's just the shape, just the outline. So let's get that on there. Perfect. And again, I will be using Grassy Knoll and Olive. I am going to first use my Grassy Knoll, and then we'll do shadowing with the olive. Just like that. All right, now let's bring in some olive. And our olive, we are going to concentrate right around the rind there. Just like that. And then we'll have perfect shadowing. And it will match the green in our drink. I think that's probably pretty good. Let's reveal, and that is perfect. And then all my stencils I will clean after I am done here, and I just spritz them with some rubbing alcohol and they come out perfect. So let's get this put away. I am going to go die cut and be right back. Pieces die cut and we are ready to assemble. Now this die does make a little cut in the glass where you can attach your lime if you want to, but I'm not going to use that. We are just going to leave it like that. Let's go ahead and do our background. So for our background, we will be using candy apple, and I'm just going to take, let's see here. I've got a piece of scrap here. Let's add some accents, some color to the background. Now I know I want my sentiment up here. So we're just going to add some color. I don't want to go in too dark though. So we're just going to carefully add some color to this background to give it a cheery feel. And it does not need to be perfect because a lot of it will get covered up, but we still want that color to kind of come through. Those holiday colors, the red and the green. So let's look at this. So if we have our cup here and we have our sentiment, I am using Sending You a Cup Full of Holiday Cheer, and I gold heat embossed that and stacked that sentiment. I think that looks pretty good. I want a little bit more color down here. I think that's good. Just like that. Maybe a little bit more over here. I think that's good. We don't want to go, you can always add more, but you can't take it off. And I think that will be perfect. So now we need to add some splatters. Let's go ahead and do that. And let me show you what I've got. If I can get that open, I'm just going to place this in my box here. And I'm going to hide these because I have a tendency to get splatters everywhere I don't want them. So I'm just bringing in my Metallic Accents watercolors, and we will be using the gold. I've got my paintbrush here. I did already get that a little wet, just so we can get some good color on that brush. And let's kind of test it out. Let's see what kind of splatters we get. I want big splatters, but not too big. So let's see what we get. I like that. I think that looks pretty good. And I've got one panel already done because this does take a little while to dry. I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. I think I want to add also some red in there. So I'm going to clean my brush here real quick with just some water. I should run it over to the sink and get it really clean, but that's okay. We're just going to wipe it off right here. And then I've got another set of watercolors. And I am going to add some red splatters in there. Oh, that's kind of mushy. I should actually put this on a palette, but I was hoping to just get some red. That'll work though. So let's see. Yeah, we're going to get good. And that reminds me of a candy cane, like some bark, some peppermint bark. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. And this was just a set of watercolors that I got on Amazon. Oops, I can list that for you in the description. Let's take our paintbrush. I'm just going to wipe that off. I will clean that in a little bit, and we are going to carefully get this out of there so it can dry. So like I said, I did do some prepping because I didn't want to take up too much of your time. And we've got paint. See, I get splatters everywhere. I don't even mean for them to go. So we've got our frame in the green glitter paper. Then I've got a background here that I splattered with the red and the gold because I kind of wanted to see how that would look. I don't know. I think I might just use the gold splatters. Although that is pretty. Let's look at just the gold splatters. So here's one with just the gold and our green frame with our cup, our lime, and our sentiment. You know, I can't make up my mind. I'm not sure if I like the red splatters on there or not. I thought I would, but I just am not sure. You know what? We're going to use the one that does not have the red splatters. Let's see how that looks. Actually, move this, not that. Okay, let's use the one without the red splatters. That was a mistake, but you know what? You have to try and see how you like it. So let's get our backing off of there. And this Recollections glitter paper, it cuts really easily. We've got our frame on there. I love that green glitter. I did cut an extra cup out of plain white cardstock just so I can stack this and give it a little bit more stability. We will add that here. Just the same as I stacked my sentiment, I just want it to have a little bit more rigidness. I don't want it to get warped in the card at all. So then we'll go like that. Let's go ahead and get some foam behind our drink. Okay, so we've got some foam tape behind here now, but we need to figure out also where we are going to place our lime. And I want to put that down at the same time because if I do it after I put down my drink, I won't be able to, scooch that lime underneath the drink. So let's take a look here. Kind of lost it. There we go. And I think we want our drink about right there. I'm holding it weird. Let's see. There we go. How's that? I think that's perfect. We'll put our lime right there, and now it is underneath our glass. Then we can take our sentiment. We're going to just add glue to this since we stacked it. It has dimension. Just like that. We can add that directly to our panel. And I think that is pretty straight. I do have a crooked eye. Let's see. Let's hold that down for just a minute. And that looks pretty good. That is perfect. I love that. I love it with the green border. That is so cute. So now all we need to do is add our embellishments. So for my embellishments, I am using the clear drops. I'm using Scarlet and Leaf. And these embellishments will just really bring it to life. There are several different sizes in here. So let's figure out where we want these. If you could please leave me a comment, I would appreciate it. YouTube loves comments. The more comments and shares and likes that I get, it promotes the video, so then it will appear for more people in their feed. So any help there, I appreciate it. And if you leave me a comment, I do read all comments. Why is that not flipping over? Probably because it's such a circle. I do read all comments and I do respond. If you ask me a question, I will answer that question. If you just leave me a kind word telling me that you liked the video or you liked the card, I will just give you a thumbs up, a little heart. I appreciate everyone watching and sharing. Next year is going to be a big year. We are going to get a lot of cards made next year. There we go. Let's see. I think we need some on the cup also on the drink. So let's see. Oh, and I did want to share that I signed up for Firefly Farms Creative Crate. That is going to be in February, and that is always so much fun. Trisha just really shares a lot of product. She has some great instructors that she's already got lined up. I will put a link to that also in the description. I don't know if I want any more green on there. I think I want a couple more red. How's that look? I think that's probably pretty good. I think that should be plenty. Maybe one more little red one, if we can find one. I want a little one. Let's see. Perfect. I will get these glued down. And there is our card for today. All I have to do is add this to a card panel and it is ready to go. That came out so cute. And I just love the one with the red border also. Let me know which one is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.